Good morning, good morning. How is everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. Welcome in, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Today we are talking about badass habits. We're going through the second part of the first chapter. Hey, Brittany. So if you haven't been following along, in the morning we talk different books, different self-help books, and we are on the last book of the Badass series. You're welcome to stay. We're learning how to create better habits, drop habits that no longer serve us. As literally something dropped. Spirit's like, yes, we're dropping habits. We're dropping them. So, for those who don't know, my name is Marci. I am an empowerment coach. People call me Rebel. Confirmation, exactly. I help people learn how to manifest. Hey Megs, I help people learn how to manifest. I teach them how to create their own reality. We use different books to show you how this is through. This isn't anything new. This is something that you've been doing your whole life. All right. So I when we go through the books, there's different techniques that may sit with you, that may not. For those who don't know, I do also have my own book out on Amazon. It is called The Magic Blanket. It is about helping manifest for others. It is like $5. Okay, it's a quick read. It teaches you how to manifest a better life for other people. Okay, you get stuck and you get frustrated. I know a lot of people on my channel are empaths. They're spiritual. They're very empathetic. So this is a way to help those that you love, and it is a I share different stories on how this has worked for me, for others in my life. If you're really worried, or you're concerned that you don't know how to manifest, or you're not quite ready to manifest for yourself, or you feel selfish, like, because you're such a people pleaser, that is a great book to start out with. I will be dropping some more books here shortly. I am in the editing stages of a couple other ones. One is all about decluttering, and learning how to really recognize how the clutter is keeping you stuck, right? Not just physical clutter, mental clutter, and how to, move forward in that. Hey Theo, I see you. I started it yesterday. Yay! Yay, yay, yay. So, our morning lives, again, we talk badass habits. This is the last book of the badass series. I've done all three of her previous books. If you're interested in seeing those, they are on my YouTube channel. That's also linked in my bio. So, with that, for those who don't understand habits, I mean, I think we all understand habits. But when it comes to habits, we have this cue or this trigger, right? We want something, and then there's a reward. And the routine or the action in between is what we need to change in order to form a better habit. And that's what we're discussing with this book, with this series right now. So, and I think I need to do a poll. I hope you have a great day too, Theo. I want to do a poll on which book you guys want to do next, but I'll have to do a video on that, I think. Wow, we went from over 200 people to 2. I love it. Gotta love it. That's all right. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. So, I did put a live goal. I'm still here, tap, tap, tapping. I love it. Thank you. I love you, Brittany. Hey, Indigo. So I did put a goal up top, and I couldn't find a coffee. I'm sure there is one, but so it's the matcha. Matcha? I don't know if that's how you say it. Tea. It's just another way to help support these lives, especially the morning lives. And it helps. Every little bit helps. All right. So yesterday we did not finish chapter 1. We are still in the middle of it. I need to figure out. I think this is where we were. So we're going to most likely finish chapter 1 today. Again, we want to figure out which habits that we want to create, or which habits we want to, change or adjust. That's okay, Indigo. I appreciate your support. You know that. Drive safe. All right, so getting back into the book this morning. In every single moment, there is an infinite number of ideas, sights, sounds, smells. Hey, Yvonne. Louisa, I don't do yes, no questions in the morning. That's only in my evening lives. We are doing badass habits. All right. So, in every single moment, there is an infinite number of ideas, sights, sounds, smells, opinions, and opportunities swirling around us. And what we choose to focus our attention on and how we choose to think and speak about it is based on the reality we're participating in the moment. Good morning. For example, 4 people can walk by a woman standing on a ladder, painting the outside of her house, and each person can experience this a completely different way. Let's say one of the people walking by is newly engaged, and when she looks at the woman, she feels all fluttery and thinks, I can't wait to pick out a color to paint our new house together. Let's say the second person walking by just got cheated on by yet another in a long line of terrible girlfriends. He may look at the woman, find her attractive, but then think, don't fall for it, man. She'll rope you in and then toss you out like an old rag. And let's say the third person walking by is launching a business as a shoe designer. She may look at the woman and think, that's such an interesting place to put a buckle on a sandal. I wonder where she got those. The last person, a busy mother of 3 who skipped breakfast, might glance at the woman and think, maybe I'll have roast beef sandwich for lunch. Oh, Lordy. The first step to making any major change in your life is always awareness. When it comes to matching your identity to the habits you want to form or free yourself from, you're going to want to start noticing the specifics of how you're behaving right now, so you can change anything that's not in alignment with where you're heading. Pay attention to your words, thoughts, beliefs, and actions, and challenge yourself with thoughts like, if I want to be a non-smoker, maybe I shouldn't beg my boyfriend to roll down his window when we drive by someone smoking a cigarette so I can savor the secondhand smoke. Perhaps I should ignore that person and simply ask my boyfriend how his day was. Identities come equipped with matching habits. When I finally decided I was going to heal my relationship with money, as in go out and actually make some, I did everything I could think of to crawl out of my hole. I read books about wealth consciousness, went to money-making seminars, took classes, hired coaches. But one of the most profound things I did was change who I was being. I forced myself to stop identifying as a broke-ass loser and started to identify as someone who made money effortlessly. Nothing had changed yet in my environment or my bank account, but I acted as if it had. I started thinking, acting, and perceiving the world like the person I wanted to become. For example, every time I had the impulse to say I can't afford it, which was pretty much any time anyone asked me to do anything, I replace it with this thought. Money flows to me easily and freely. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Sorry. And I'll be right back because my music stopped. Hang on. Okay, sorry. So, again, we want to be aware of the things that we're saying, the things that we're doing, right? We want to acknowledge when we're saying things like, oh, I can't afford that right now. Or, you know, I'm really bad at money. I can't keep money. No, 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 no. We're changing that, right? And we're imagining that it's different, that money is always flowing to us, that money is flowing to us easily and effortlessly, and that our bank account is full, right? That we can buy that. We're just choosing not to right now, right? I walked around saying this to myself all day long, and because I am human and I love to be right, I started looking for proof that money did indeed flow to me easily and freely. I'd find $1 on the street. I'd get a freelance job out of nowhere. I'd get 20 bucks from my dad for my birthday. And instead of ignoring these tiny moments of financial felicity or immediately falling back into focus on what the hell I was doing with my life, I celebrated that money was right then and there flowing to me easily and freely, right? And this is what I talk about when everybody was talking about the lucky girl syndrome, right? This is what you need to be doing each and every day. If you want to change something, you need to stop focusing on what it is that you don't want, and you want to start focusing on what it is that you do want, and noticing the proof that is there. Hey, Mina. So, if we're saying we're lucky, right, we have to reinforce it in our brain so our brain starts saying, oh, yes, you're right, right? My coffee tastes amazing this morning. I'm so lucky, right? I'm so good with money. Money flows to me easily and effortlessly. You find a dime on the floor, right? Or on the ground. It doesn't matter. That's money coming to you freely, easily, right? You didn't have to, break a sweat to get it. You didn't have to shed some tears. You didn't, you know, burst out blood to get it, right? We want to confirm these things. We don't want to keep saying, oh, well, it's just a dime, right? That's like telling the universe, no, I don't want it. We don't want to do that. We want to acknowledge it. We want to say thank you, right? It does. Yes, it comes to me easily. Habits define who you're being at a certain moment in time. They are not who you are. Not only did putting money flows to me easily and freely on repeat make me feel a whole lot more inspired, but it opened my eyes to all the things I couldn't see when I was so busy proving that I can't afford it was the truth. I went after opportunities that before would have been out of my reach or full on invisible to me. I invested money I didn't have on educating myself and starting a new business. I stretched myself and took terrifying leaps into the unknown instead of hiding in the snore hole of whining and complaining about how hard everything was. Adopting the identity of someone who was successful made me look for solutions, whereas identifying as someone who was broke made me look for excuses. It was large, Marge. I am the greatest, I said that even before I knew I was. And that is from Muhammad Ali. How many times have you done that? I mean, really think about that, okay? And I know I've shared this before with many people. When I was younger, my parents made us do sports, right? And I grew up in Pittsburgh, and baseball was huge. Baseball, softball. And I didn't play like t-ball or anything like that. I played softball. So I didn't even get into it till I was like 9 years old. And I sucked. I sucked hardcore. I could barely throw a ball. Like, I sat the bench and I broke my finger. I broke my pinky finger sitting on the bench. Okay? And I remember at the end of that season, like crying because I didn't want to suck. And I told my dad, I was like, I want to be an all-star. And one thing my dad always taught us, um, and it was really annoying growing up, and I hated it, but it really worked, is he would always tell us to say, I'm number one. We would literally like yell it at each other because he'd be like, who's number one? And me and my brothers, two of my older brothers, we'd have to like yell it at each other. I'm number one. I'm number one. So that whole next year, like my dad's like, okay, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to pitch and I want to play shortstop and I want to hit good. And so my dad helped me set up like a little pitching mound in our back alley, like spray painted the mound and the home plate, put a freaking basket, like a milk crate at behind the plate, and I went out there each and every day and I pitched each and every day. And then I would tag along with my brothers and be very annoying and learn how to play baseball. And they were not nice to me. I would come home many times with threading on my face. But that next year, I pitched. I did not play shortstop because the one girl, it was her last season. I would fill in if she didn't, but I played third. And I made the all-star team. Because I adapted and looked at myself and believed they weren't nice to me, and I believed that I was an all-star player. I acted as one. I did the things that an all-star player would do. Right? I pitched every day. I went and did pickup games with my brothers. And let me tell you, again, not very nice because we would play on a dirt field, but oftentimes we ended up playing on a cement field. And they would try and hit it towards me to hit me. Them and their friends. Boys are mean, man. Boys are mean. But you know what? It built me up. It made me stronger. I was no longer afraid of the ball. It didn't matter because I was so used to having threadings on my face. I was like, what's one more? So those were just things that I did because that's what I thought an all-star player would do. They would do those things. Meanwhile, my friends are on the sidelines just watching because they're like, oh, I want to be a girl, right? Which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But, they would support me in that way. But, I was the one getting down and dirty. Lean into get the walk. Lean into it to get the walk. Yeah, sorry. My brain is just like, wait, what? Not anything you did, my brain. So, pick an identity right now that you've often used to describe yourself. It can be anything from being lazy to organized to punctual to spontaneous to confident to musical to bad at math to a real people pleaser. We're going to step back and notice how your habitual words, thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and actions have helped you form this identity. So that when you work on developing new identities and new habits, you have an example from your own life to use as reference, just kind of like what I just said, right? Look at your words. How do you talk about yourself in reference to this identity of yours? Do you apologize for it? Celebrate it? Act like it's no big deal? For example, I'm an extremely tidy person. I make my bed the moment I get up in the morning, immediately unpack and put away my stuff when I get home from a trip, and put my spices away while I'm still cooking, even though I'm almost always to get them out and use them again. I also have a constant stream of house guests and often find myself saying, I know, I can't help it, just ignore me, while gently pushing them aside so I can fluff the pillow behind them, or while neatly lining up all of our shoes in the front hallway. I often make announcements to anyone who will listen, such as, I'm glad I'm so persnickety. It makes my life so much easier. As I pull my lipstick out of my pocket in my purse, where it always is because I always put it back where it belongs, I like being tidy. I've always been tidy. I'm into it, and my words reflect it. So if you're trying to become something, you want to make a change, right? You want to become a business owner, you want to become a coach, or you want to become a teacher or a graphic designer or something along those lines, right? You can sit there and say, yes, I now create all these products, right? You can tell people like, yeah, I'm getting into becoming a designer. But when you talk about it, you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not creating products. I'm blah, 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 blah. Watch what you're saying. Look at what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. If you were already that person, would you say those things? Right? Would you be saying, I suck at designing? No. If you're a designer, right, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I love creating new designs, right? I always have new ideas. Whatever it is, you have to start saying those things. You have to be aware. You have to be in the present moment and knowing what it is that you're saying. Does it reflect who you want to be versus who you don't want to be? Or is it keeping you from becoming who you want to be? Thoughts. What thoughts run through your mind when you do things like walk into a room, meet a new person, read the news, or drive down a new street as a result of who you're being? For example, if I walk into someone's office and see a bunch of stuff piled on their desk, I get anxious and can't fathom how they're able to concentrate with all of that crap all over the place. Panic, right? Clutter makes me think about cleaning. Tidiness makes me think all is well. I like tidiness in other people too. I notice it right away when I walk into someone's house if stuff is put away or not. She would not like to come to my house. But again, look at that. Are you looking and thinking and feeling as a designer or, a business owner, right? How are you looking at things? Are you looking for roadblocks? Are you looking for solutions? Are you looking for ideas? Your beliefs. What beliefs, conscious or unconscious, are you buying into as a result of who you're being? Being tidy makes my life easier because I always know where my stuff is. I've got my own back. I have my act together. I'm in control, right? What beliefs do you have about yourself? Like, I'm not gonna lie, like reading this, I'm like, wow, I don't have my life together because I'm not. I mean, I'm clean, but I'm not that tidy. So I'm like, wow, does that mean I don't have my life together? Right? Those are the doubts. Those are the things that come. That's the comparison, right? That's what kills a lot of stuff is when you compare yourself to other people, right? So I'm sitting here going, well, maybe I don't have my shit together. Bullshit, I have my shit together. I just I have it together in a different way, right? Some may call it organized chaos. Some may call it just, whatever. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Repeated action. What habitual actions do you find yourself repeating because of who you're being? For me, it's straightening, fluffing, folding, stacking, sponging off, organizing, repeatedly walking into rooms I've just tidied up to reveal how great they look. Okay? So, her being a tidy person, right? She has these actions, these thoughts, these beliefs. Okay? She's just sharing with you her thought process, her beliefs, her repeated actions. It's to, you know, confirm that's who she is. I started picking up my side table during all that. I know, I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, I could really pick up that. I could really tidy that up a little. But honestly, like, without judgment and without making this about being tidy, right? So, Brittany, like for you, when you look at yourself as that baker, right? I'm sure you have your baking supplies and everything organized in a certain way, right? You know what you need. There's an action that you do before you get started baking, right? Whether you pull it all out or you go one by one as you do it, right? There there is ways that you do this within your own practice, within your own identity, right? When you're a tarot reader, right? When you're getting ready to go live, you have thoughts, you have beliefs, you speak differently, right? You have your own organized, the way that you pull your cards. Those are two different identities, but it's still you. And you do things differently, and you think things differently, and you believe things differently from one to the other. There's no difference for you to move into a different identity of, a creator, right? What do they do differently? How can you change that? Now that you're aware of the specifics that go into making up an identity, you are ready to use this information and create excellent new habits and toss out lousy old ones. The ability to choose and change who you're being in this life is a gift, especially since so many of the habits and identities that we're walking around with weren't consciously chosen for us in the first place. Science has shown that we're genetically predisposed towards certain personality traits, and our environment also influences the behaviors and beliefs we cling to. We picked up the majority of our most ingrained and habitual beliefs and identities from our parents, or from whomever raised us. We didn't, as 4-year-olds, think, "Well, I agree, it seems like an excellent idea to be disdainful of anyone who doesn't share the same religious beliefs as I do. Disliking people who are different is totally aligned with what I find fun and nourishing and meaningful. I'm in." When it comes to the most of our early habits, we kind of just pick them up while hanging around the dinner table and watching every single move our parents make. Then we go ahead and form our own versions of the truth in one of two ways: by mimicking what we take in or by rebelling against it. When you were a kid, the people who raised you were the centers of your universe. You relied on them to keep you safe, to get you food, and to show you the ropes of the big new world of yours. You were like a little mouse, nibbling up every morsel of information you could get your paws on. As a child, you hadn't developed any filters or analytical skills yet. So you basically just internalized and categorized all this intel with a big awkward yes-no switch, and either copied or did the opposite of what you saw around you. What you lacked in analytical power, what you lacked in analytical prowess, however, you made up for in detail. My brother Stephen discovered just how astutely he absorbed all the info from our parents when, as an adult, he accidentally caught himself on video making sandwiches and hors d'oeuvres while standing next to our dad. It was his daughter's 18th birthday, and we were all at his house for her surprise party. Steve set up a camera on the kitchen counter and pointed it towards the door so he could capture the big moment when she walked into the house. What he didn't realize was that he was also capturing himself and Dad. So when he asked me over the next morning to show me the footage, he prefaced it with, "I had no idea. Why didn't anybody tell me? I had no idea." He queued up the incriminating footage, and there they were. Dad and Steve standing side by side at the counter. Big me and mini me. With the exact posture, shoulders up, head bent slightly forward with a little jovial shake here and there, arms a little stiff, holding their respective knives with the exact same fingers in the exact same position, cutting with the same precise concentration, raising the same right eyebrow while listening intently to the conversation around them. Steve not only set the camera up perfectly, Dad in the foreground in his antipasto plate preparing stunt double slightly off to his right. He couldn't have imitated Dad better if he tried. It was the most flawless and impressive performance I had ever seen. There's no fighting it. We become our parents whether we like it or not. I don't know about you, but I sometimes hear my mother's words come flying out of my mouth with such hair-raising precision. It's like she's hiding behind a bush feeding me lines. I even find myself saying things I picked up from her that I don't necessarily agree with or want to say. But lo and behold, they come blurting out of my mouth by habit, like coughed up hairballs from my unconscious. Sometimes, though, we rebel against our early conditioning and we reject what we've taken in with the same dedicated attention to detail that we employ when we're mimicking. I credit my extreme tidiness to the fact that my mom was an avid stuff enthusiast. Surrounding herself with clutter gave her a sense of security, perhaps filling some hole from her lonely childhood. Mom was the mind that if you found a shirt you liked, you should buy it in every color. She had 37 baseball caps fighting for space on the hooks in her coat room. Papers, magazines, spare dog collars, and emery boards teetered in piles on every available surface. One time when I was home from college, I discovered a stockpile of old moisturizer bottles in her attic, all with less than half containers left, and all of them dating back to somewhere around 1970. I asked her if I could throw them away, to which she replied no. To which I replied, "Why on earth are you keeping them?" To which she replied, "Why on earth do you care?" Fair enough. Her attic, her crusty lotion. But to me, that kind of clutter is the opposite of comforting to me. It's a sinister evil that's intent on unraveling the very fibers that hold together my soul. I became so traumatized by her collecting that I developed the opposite identity, honing a tidiness that has become so legendary that it has once inspired a house guest to wake up screaming in the middle of the night after realizing with a start that she left a dirty spoon on my spotless kitchen counter. Living an awesome life is all about making choices that make your heart sing. And in order to do this, you must become aware of the choices you've already made. Trying to change your life without being self-aware is like using a map to try to get somewhere you've never been before. If you don't know where you're starting from, you ain't gonna get very far. Pulling back and taking stock of your habits, your beliefs, your thoughts, your identity, your words, and your actions is some of the most important work you can do because it gets you out of victim mode and puts you in control of your life. And living a life on purpose is truly where the party's at. That's shadow work. People get so consumed with the term shadow work. You know, it has this connotation that it's big, bad, and scary. It doesn't have to be, right? This is just things that we're noticing. We're being aware of what we do. Again, the triggers, the actions, the reward, or the result, right? So, you know, if we wonder why we keep doing the same thing over and over again, or why we keep pulling in the same people, right? Maybe we keep getting into toxic relationships, whether it's love, friendships, or having this toxic relationship with our family. We have to look at ourselves. What do we do? How do we think? How do we behave? What do we act on? Right? And we have to be aware and be blunt and brutally honest with ourselves. Right? A lot of the times I ask people, women will come up to me and, you know, they may ask me, why do I keep choosing these toxic relationships? My first question is, what's your thought on men? What do you say about men? Do you call them, you know, assholes? Do you call them pigs? What is your thought? What is your belief about men? Do you believe that they're all toxic? Do you believe that they just want something, one thing from you? Do you believe that they're heartless? Do you believe that they can't be in a relationship? Do you believe that they can't share their emotions? Because that's what's being shown to you, because that's deep down what you believe. That's a hardcore belief. You have to change your beliefs, and you have to notice the evidence that support your new belief, right? It's going to be hard to, I wouldn't even say hard, but you're going to have to kind of look for it at first, right? I know several men who are sweet and kind and caring and able to share their emotions, right? Where they're not after just one thing. They want the connection just like anybody else, right? So you have to look at yourself and say, wow, okay, I truly believe that men are pigs. I truly believe that men can't have a deep conversation. And you have to start changing that, whether it's speaking it or thinking it, but noticing it too. Because I can guarantee you, you've had a deep conversation with at least one man in your life. I guarantee it. And I guarantee you that you've had a man share their feelings with you. Okay? Whether it was in your teenage years or, later on in life. Maybe it was even your father. It doesn't matter. It's there. It's possible. It exists. And you have to confirm it within yourself instead of keep confirming that guys are, simple-minded, right? And the same thing with men. When they sit there and say, I, I can't find a good woman. Like, they don't exist anymore. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay, you need to look. Yes, guys will say they only want one thing. They only want money. They want, they're gold diggers. They don't care. Like, or they just want to tie me down. They're so clingy and they want to be together 24/7. Da da da. No. That's just what you believe. It doesn't have to be that way. Again, you have to notice, what is it that I want? We're just chilling at home, eating tacos and watching comfort shows. Yes, right? What is it that you want to believe? What is it that you want in that relationship, right? As a man, what type of woman are you looking for? I mean, you have to know what that is. Okay? Do you want wifey material? Right? But also realize that when we want a certain type of relationship, right? We want that long-term relationship. We have this idea of the type of person we want. Guess what? We have to become that person. So if you want somebody who's loving and loyal and ready to really take on the world with you, become your ride or die, guess what? You have to become that too. Right? You have to become that too. You have to be that person that you want. So if, whether you're a man or a woman or non-binary, whatever, whoever you are as a person, if you believe that you can have a relationship and you want your partner to be faithful, but you yourself don't want to be faithful, guess what? It's not going to work unless you have this agreement and you discuss it. Okay? You have to be the person who you wish to pull in. You attract who you are, not what you want. Okay? So I'm going to finish today, I think this is the end of it, yes, with this, it's a story, success story, I guess. All right, so Alice gave up refined sugar. She's 32. The impulse to give up sugar was mostly about my skin. I would get terrible breakouts and generally didn't feel well after I ate. When I do something, my approach is to go balls to the wall. I made a big announcement out loud. I'm quitting sugar. Story time, yes. And got rid of all the sugary products in my house. I did a lot of research on people who changed their lives through food. I worked alongside a doctor who was very inspirational to me, and I watched a really interesting documentary called Fed Up that demonized sugar. I also did something I call tweaking the addiction. I realized that I was addicted to eating sugar and lots of garbage to reinforce how bad I felt about myself. Once I distanced myself a little bit from sugar so it wasn't habitual anymore, I was able to see how sugar was coloring my life. I was very up and down emotionally. My skin would break out and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? So then I started to align myself with food that made me feel really good, and I broke the addiction to feeling bad. When you're not addicted to feeling bad about yourself anymore, you change your habits. So instead, I tweaked my addiction to feeling bad about myself and became addicted to feeling good in general and good about myself. I also got into a character like I was in a play. I connected with images and internalized stories that represented me at my best, truest self. It was a sorry. I'm not a person who eats sugar. I changed my story. It's very method acting and very helpful. Because if you don't think that you are something, how can you partake in the behavior associated with it? So, and we're kind of talking, we've been talking about that too, right? You can look at it as a role, and you can change the way you act, the way you do things, right? So if you want to be somebody who works out every day, maybe you want to have, a six-pack abs, maybe you want to, lose 30 pounds or whatever, or if you want to fit into a smaller size or whatever the case may be. Guess what? The person who does that, who's fit and healthy and, loves to works out every day. So find what works for you, right? If you want to be a business owner, and you're not quite sure what type of business you want to do, but you know that person, that business owner, gets up every morning, you know, gets their day started early, start waking up early, right? Most business people are up before 6 o'clock in the morning. Not quite there yet, but hey, we'll get there. But, they wake up early. They get their day started before most people are, while most people are still sleeping, right? Maybe you know that you want to work on your computer, right? So make a space that is dedicated to business, to when you're in business mode, and start researching different things you want to do to find what it is that you really want to work with, right? Do that. It's not acting as if, it's getting you in the habit of doing things that identity does. I'm still trying to get used to 7 a.m. And that's good. And just once you get comfortable there, you just move it up like 15 minutes. You'll get there. Don't try to go from 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. Like, you're going to put your body in like this, big old crash, because it's going to be like, wait, what's going on? You'll be back into fight mode. You'll be like, what's going on? What's happening? Right? We don't want to be in flight or fight. We want to slowly, gradually get there. We don't have to do it instantly. And that goes with anything, right? We don't have to create these new habits right away. Like, if you want to be a person who works out for an hour, don't try to like start out working out for an hour, right? Go for a 10-minute walk, right? Slowly build up. That's how you're going to stick with it. 5 a.m. here. Yes, Indigo, you are definitely one of those people who is like in that business mindset. For sure. I mean, geez, you're halfway through your workday as it is, right? So, those are the things you need to really look at. And you need to start asking yourself, okay, if I owned my own business, what are some of the things that I would be doing differently, right? If I was a content creator who did this type of videos, how would I do that? Would I do just a video each day? Would I do a bunch of videos and create a bunch of videos in one day and then edit them another day and then, time them out? Or do I just do one video or however many videos a day and I do the whole process and I do one video, do the whole process. Later on in the day, do another video, the whole process, right? You need to find what works for you, but first you need to decide what it is that you want to do. At least get some sort of general idea of who you want to be, what you want to change about yourself, and then ask yourself, what would I do differently? That's how you manifest, right? That's how you manifest. And when those ideas come to where you need to take action, you take that action, one step. You don't have to have the whole plan laid out in front of you. You just have to have an idea. And then you slowly, you take the steps as they come. You take the ideas as they come, right? But you have to ask yourself these questions, right? And when you get clarity and when you get very clear on what it is that you want, right? Everything starts to line up easily. The universe wants to help you and they want to put you on the path of least resistance. Okay, so sometimes that may look like you're losing a lot of shit and it may feel difficult, but the universe is like, no, this stuff's holding you back. Let's get rid of it. You just never know. Okay, whether it's universe, source, higher self, God, whatever you align with. I just say universe, okay? I think a lot of people resonate with that. Um, but, you know, there are things that we think that we need that are in our way that we hold on to, and the universe, like, all right, if you're not willing to just like let this go, we're gonna make it happen and it's not gonna be pretty, right? We're gonna burn some freaking bridges so you can't go back to. Okay, so this is where you need to realize what's holding you back. What's keeping you from being this person that you want to be, creating these new habits that you want to create? Been there, exactly. Brittany had hell of a burning of a bridge, a tower moment, if you will, for a long time. But she got on a fast track too. Once she knew what she wanted, she got on the fast track and she did things that would take people years to do. And she did it within 6 months. That's what I'm talking about. She knew that she wanted a home of her own, right? She wanted to have, her space, right? She wanted, for a lack of term, I'm just going to say it this way. She wanted to be a homeowner. Okay, she may not technically own that home, but she saw herself as a person who had a home. At the time, she was living in a motel, okay? In a one-bedroom motel with her husband and child. She knew she wanted to be a homeowner. She saw herself as a homeowner. When she could, if she was out and about and she saw something she wanted for her new home, guess what? She bought it. She didn't wait until she had the home to prove that she had it. No, she bought it. That was her trusting, right? And within a few months, she found the perfect home. And she's there. I knew where I didn't want to be, and the universe said, okay, let's find where you needed to go. Exactly, right? She knew she didn't want to stay in the motel. She knew she didn't want to go backwards and go back to the place she just ran from. I mean, I'm sure that could have been, an option. Not a good one, but an option. But she let that go. She burned that bridge. She's like, no, definitely not doing that. Good morning, Patricia. How are you, sweetheart? So, these are the things you have to ask yourself. What do I want? Who do I want to be? What do they do differently that I do? What can I start implementing today to instill that I am that person? That I am, that business owner, that successful person, that writer, that baker, the content creator. What do I need to do? And then do it. I don't care if you suck at it. I don't care if, it looks horrible or you have no idea what you're doing. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Okay? There are things that I've done that I look at and I'm like, oh, that's horrible. But you know what? At the time, I was just learning. And I wanted to, and I became better with time, right? There are I went through my page last night, and there are videos that I'm like, oh, that's real cringy. Like, because I'm so stiff and I'm so, nervous, right? And even still, there are videos that I'm like, I really need to find a way to make these a little bit more fun, right? Because I can get so serious with things where if I just loosened up a little bit, it would definitely reach more people. But sometimes I'm just like, oh, I'm nervous, and you can see it. Instead, if I would just tap into the person who creates amazing content and has fun with it and gets a lot of, interaction with it, you would see the change. My first cake from scratch, the icing looks like it's melting. Yes. Yes, but you learned from that, right? You learned from it, and you probably then knew, oh, I needed to let it cool a little bit longer before I tried icing it, right? Or whatever the case may be. That's what we need to do, right? We have to learn, but we have to start. And I think that holds a lot of people back. It's held me back on so many different things because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Guess what? You'll figure it out. Go make some mistakes. Fail forward, right? You're not, failing is not a bad thing, right? You learn from it. Fail forward. That's another great book, by the way. Failing Forward by John Maxwell. Great book. So try things out. Move forward, right? If you trip and fall, guess what? Just pick yourself back up. You're not dead, right? Okay, that didn't work. What can I do differently? Or, you know what? I got a little bit of interaction with that, or I got some traffic with it, some response to it. How can I make that better? Is it my marketing? Is it my copy? Is it, am I not putting it in the right place? Am I not talking about it enough? Right? There's so many different things that you can do, and depending on, again, it depends on what you want to do. So don't forget, guys, too, like, I'm happy to coach you through this. I am a coach. I work with manifestation. I work in empowerment. I want to help you. I want to help you find the path that you need. I want to help you learn how to manifest and work with your manifestations. So if you're interested in that, I do offer coaching, one-on-one coaching services. If you're interested, you can message me. You can check out my group, my Facebook group. It's in my profile. My schedule's in there, but I think my schedule is off right now. So I rather schedule personal anyways for right now, until my website is up and running, and then we'll have all of that together. You can schedule, readings or coaching sessions, what have you, right through there. So, there's my ums again. But yeah, so we can we can change who we are and what we believe and what we want, and we can change those habits, but we have to be very aware of who it is we want to be and how we are now versus what we need to change to get to where we want to be. It's not difficult. It's really not. It's just putting in the work. It's taking the step, having faith, and following up and being consistent. You can do it. I can do it. So many people have done it. There's so many people who have the stories of, I was down and out, I was bankrupt, and then the next thing you know, within 5 years, they are living great lives. Complete opposite of where they were. Why can't that be you? It can be. Stop telling yourself it can't happen, because I guarantee you that's what you're telling yourself. Oh, it can't happen to me, or it would take me 20 years. You're not wrong. Either way, you're right, right? So, anybody have anything they want to talk about or have questions about? What is it that you want to change? Like, what are some of the things that you want to work on? What are the habits that you want to do differently? What do you want to, who do you want to be that you're not right now? For me, I want to be organized with my work. I have so many ideas, and you guys hear me all the time. I have so many ideas and different things that I work on, and I want a good flow. I love that. Stop trying to prove yourself right with what you can't do. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Find the confirmation and the validation and what it is that you do want. Stop looking for the validation of what you don't want. Right? Stop confirming that you're not good enough. Start confirming that you are. Right? Start seeing the evidence that you're incredible, because you are. There are things that you do that others can't do. There may be people who can do it better, but they probably do it differently. I want to stay on a schedule and invest in me a bit more. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. I love it. And I know a lot of people get stuck on the money, right? Investing. Okay, you're either going to invest time or money. Okay, what do you have more of right now and use it? Okay, so maybe right now you can't invest in a program that costs $1,500 to do, right? But you can invest your time and do the research online. There's so much free information out there. Okay, I know, and I say this because these are things that run through my head, right? Again, we're not going to say I can't afford it right now. We're going to say I am choosing not to right now. So I'm going to invest some time and I'm going to learn what I can. Yeah, exactly. Time, energy, even just planning things out. Exactly. So make the investment, whether it's financial, whether it's time, whether it's your energy, whether it's creating, right? There's so much out there that you can do to learn what it is that you want to do, what you want to be, who you want to be, right? So much free information out there. It's I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather pay for information because it's usually put together in a very nice package and I can follow it. But there are times that I do the research myself for whatever reason, right? Maybe I want to get a better idea of understanding of where this all comes from or how other people may have perceived it. But invest in yourself. Invest in the person you want to be and go after it. Stop holding yourself back. Oh, it's going to take a long time. Yeah, you're right. Especially because you keep putting it off. Get started. It might happen faster than what you think. Do something. Take an action. Stop talking. Stop talking. Start doing. You can do this. Anything is possible. So with that, I am going to go ahead and sign off because we're almost at 10 o'clock. I am really trying to be strict in doing these for 1 hour. Today is Wednesday, right? Yes. So I will probably be on a little later, maybe in the afternoon. Again, Brittany, if you want to do it in the afternoon, try it out again. We will be doing tarot readings. So if you want to get on the list already, it is $25. All the information is in my profile. And you get 2 readers. You're free after 11, okay? Sounds good. So you can go ahead and get on the list beforehand. We'll probably, I'm guessing, probably be on again around 1. And then maybe even tonight. We'll see how things go. I don't think I have anything scheduled tonight. I just try to schedule my day before my kids get home. And then after that, I'm like, I have to think, what do they have? What do I need to do aside from dinner? So, all right, guys. I hope you all have an amazing Wednesday. Make it a great day and invest in yourself today. Take 5 minutes and look at something that's been piquing your interest and do some research. Who do you want to be? How are they different than who you are now? All right, guys. I love you. Have a great day.